Stephen, you're saying here. I just don't understand who our government thinks is going to be putting their porridge, the oatmeal you call it, oatmeal on the table in the morning, you know, their cornflakes. Where do they think food's going to come from if they keep slamming farmers in this fashion?
It doesn't quite make much sense to me, but we can just look at what they have done. I mean, taking the UK and Europe as a whole, they have made it incredibly unprofitable to be a farmer. It's already a really hard business as it is. You're dealing with all sorts of natural factors that make farming really, really tough when you can't predict what's going to happen. But we're operating sort of in a different century, particularly in Europe. They're not able to produce food because they don't use modern tools like insecticides and pesticides, neonicotinoids that actually allow farmers to have more sustainable yields. They've tacked on diesel taxes. They make fertilizer unworkable just based on environmental initiatives. They prioritize all of these different things that do not equal feeding people in Great Britain. It's incredibly shameful, and what you're seeing here is farmers grasping for anything that they can to actually make a living, and they don't want subsidies. You know, Europe subsidizes their farmers across the entire continent at twice the rate that America does, and we're seeing the same thing here, a bailout for farmers. They don't want a bailout, they want to make food and make money off of it.
Yeah, so President Trump, just remind us, President Trump is being mooted that he'll be giving a $20 billion bailout to farmers to help them amid the tariff fiasco, right? Because they're being particularly hit by his tariffs. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct.
I mean, that is correct, but let's be clear. The American farmer is in an economic and financial crisis, and it's solely because of President Trump's actions. This last year, farm bankruptcies rose by 55%. Again, this isn't a plague. This isn't because Americans have changed their eating habits or Europeans have changed their eating habits. It's because he instituted a trade war with China that raised cost on the farmer, and then the Chinese retaliated and decided they weren't going to buy soybeans or other agricultural goods. And then those taxes that were on the American consumer, which are a direct result from Trump's tariffs, are now being used to then bail out the farmer. It makes no sense economically. And let's also be clear, farmers do not want a bailout. They want to be able to sell their own crops and make a living.
But at least, I mean, as a Brit's perspective, at least he's doing something about the arguable mess he's made.
I don't like that. No. You don't get kudos for doing the cleanup job.
Well, Labour in the UK, Labour has made a mess and then not cleaned up. That's what I'm saying.
Also, just to jump off what Steve was saying.
This RFK guy, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., he brought in, he is an acolyte of Brussels. He is the kind of guy who, when he actually is evaluating an agricultural policy for food production, he goes, well, they do it this way in Europe. They would never allow these chemicals to be put on their food, et cetera, et cetera. But he doesn't go, we produce way more than they do because we actually use crop protectants in the United States. So he is coming to this with a leftist Brussels mindset, and it is harming American farmers who went for Donald Trump in massive numbers, but the policies hurt them.
It might be his brainworm talking, we don't know on that. But I think we should also talk about how this hurts not just American farmers, it hurts the American consumer. Food prices are at record highs under the Trump administration, and that is clear because of the tariffs.
People are not grateful for the policies that actually work and feed people. You know, America is one of the most privileged places in the world when it comes to access to food and affordability. It could be a lot better, but still you have people come into Washington, D.C. and start trying to play bureaucratic games and institute rulemaking. You know, again, passing insecticide laws that are going to make it harder to actually grow food and sustain American families.
Are you referring to RFK Jr. there?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, he's big on quality of soil, for example, isn't he? So from a regulatory perspective, will his push for that make things a lot harder for farmers, and how?
Regulation always makes it harder. When you are layering on different aspects of compliance for farmers to do what they already know how to do, you are making food more expensive and you are bankrupting farms. Get out of the way. That is what the Republican Party is for, and this one is not doing it.
He just wants to make